Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्कपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Namaste once again everyone. So in the last class, actually in one last class, last couple of classes, we are discussing this following sloka in detail. Karpanya doshopahata swabhavah prichami tvam dharma sammudha chetah yachreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. As I said, this sloka is a very defining movement in the Gita teaching, the whole Gita teaching. And that's a reason why I felt that we should deal with this sloka in detail, because there are a lot of things for us to learn from this one sloka. The context of this sloka, what is the turning point that is happening in the entire Gita teaching in this sloka and all that. And the most important aspect, of course, we were discussing in the last class was this Guru Sharanagati. In the context of Arjuna's word, Tvam Prapannam, I surrender to you. So we have been talking about different stages. So this is the third stage. Once having recognized one's helplessness in solving the problems that one is faced with. A wise person, an intelligent person, I would not say wise, an intelligent person, he will seek external help to solve his problem. I hope you all remember the stages. First stage was discovery of the problem. Second stage is discovering of the helplessness. And this is the third stage. Surrendering to someone, seeking help, and Arjuna is exactly doing that. Tvam Prapannam. And what is now Krishna's status? We have already seen in the Dhyana slokas, isn't it? Prapanna parijataya totrave traikapanaye jnana mudraya krishnaya gita mritaduhe namaha. We have seen this sloka. So Arjuna has surrendered to the correct person only, not to some Tom, Dick and Harry. Krishna is the one who has actually has all the wisdom, and he is the one who has milked the entire Upanishads, and he has provided it in the form of the Amritam of Gita. So here surrender is what is Arjuna saying. He says that I am your disciple, Shishyasteham. I surrender to you, Tvam Prapannam Shadimam. So once a person becomes a Shishya and surrenders, automatically what happens? The other person becomes a Guru. So here, actually Swamiji says that a learned person can never decide whether he should be a Guru or not. He might have knowledge, any knowledge, not necessarily knowledge of the Atma Vidya. He can have any knowledge, mathematics, English, physics, whatever knowledge is there. And suppose he wants to become a teacher. How can he become a teacher? He can easily learn so many things and become knowledgeable. But if he has to become a teacher, what he requires is minimum one student, isn't it? As Swami Paramatmananda says, one victim is required, captive audience. So minimum one person is required who should come and ask me, please teach me what you know. So whether one becomes a guru or not depends upon whether the other person is ready to receive. Giving of the learning of knowledge is possible only when there is somebody to receive. Krishna can never become a guru unless Arjuna decides to become his disciple. Now here, of course, luckily for us, Arjuna chooses to become the disciple. And by way of that, Arjuna, what he does, he has actually converted Krishna into a Jagat Guru, Gita Acharya. Parthasarathi has become a Jagat Guru, Krishna. And that conversion is taking place when Arjuna says, Tvam Prapannam, I am surrendering to you. And then what happens? Because even after surrender, there are so many things. Where surrender can be for different types of surrender. And surrender can happen with different expectations also. Even for getting a mantra upadesha, one needs to surrender to a guru. I become a disciple and the other person can become a guru, and I can ask him, please initiate me into some mantra, some japa, all the other. Like for example, the process is very simple. Rather, you do a pada puja of the guru and take the mantra from him. And this we all have witnessed during Upanayana, isn't it? They actually cover that boy, father, mother and all. They cover it with a silk cloth, and then Gayatri mantra Upadesha is given. That is for Upanayanam, Gayatri mantra is ordained. But the Guru can give some other mantra like Om Namah Shivaya, Narayanaya. And all these mantras are there for the purpose of meditation, for the purpose of japa, Manasika japa. So many mantras are there. Ashtakshara, Panchakshara mantra, Ashtakshara mantra, all mantras, different types of mantras are there. And the gurus, depending upon his own shraddha, and depending upon what he feels that the student should get, he will give a suitable mantra for the student. But in this particular context, when a person is giving only mantra upadesha, ignorance is not removed. The conflict which the person is actually undergoing, even if he has actually come to the stage of recognizing his helplessness, and then he has surrendered to the Guru to get a mantra upadesha, that conflict will not be resolved by the mantra upadesha. All that the mantra upadesha can do is, it can give chitta shuddhi, more and more chanting of that mantra, meditating on that mantra. As I said, doing the manasa japa, it will purify the mind. And temporarily, it can give some, tranquility to the mind. The mind will become quiet for some period of time. But when there is a confusion like what Arjuna has, what we require is not a mantra upadesha. What is required is teaching. Because the confusion is because of ignorance, and it's only knowledge which can actually remove that situation. So that the other person, the student, gains knowledge of what is right and what is wrong, what is everything, what is the reality, what is not real, what appears to be real but not real. All this, aviveka is there because of ignorance. So the knowledge, the right knowledge will bring in the viveka. So that is why Arjuna is saying, I don't want some mantra, upadesha and all. I want shadhi. Shadhi means instruct me, give me knowledge, remove my ignorance. That is the meaning of the word shadhi. But if Krishna does not remove Arjuna's ignorance and only gives an incidental solution to the problem, then what will be Arjuna's issue? When he faces another conflict, again Arjuna will have to run to Krishna. Oh, this is a different problem I am facing. Please let me know the solution for this. And this is the difference between an advice and teaching. When I give some advice to a person, I am not making that person independent. I am only making that person dependent on me. Therefore, that person will think, whenever I get into a problem, whenever I've got a conflict, I will take advice from this person. So when the next conflict comes, that person will again run to the person who has advised, asking for advice. And what happens is the dependence sometimes grows so much that even for simpler things, which one can himself think and find a solution, people will tend to run for asking for advice, even to drink coffee or tea, whether I should drink it in the morning or evening. All these silly advices people will seek. So whenever we seek an advice, it's fine temporarily, but in the long run, advising does not help. Because advising makes the person dependent on the advisor. And therefore, if one is a true well-wisher, one should not just be advising the person, but one should teach the person how to take a decision, so that tomorrow, even if the advisor is not around, and when there is a situation, the person who is seeking advice must have that objectivity to look at the situation and take decision appropriately. That's why, advice makes a person dependent, whereas teaching makes a person independent. We have heard that old, anecdote or proverb, whatever they say, that give a poor man a fish, you are solving that day's problem for food. But when you teach a poor man to fish, then you are solving his problem for good, for all the time. Once you teach him to fish, the problem is permanently solved. So this is the difference between advice and teaching. So here also Arjuna is asking for teaching, and Arjuna further elaborates his helplessness in the next shloka, and thus emphasizing the importance of the need for Krishna to teach Arjuna. We will read the next shloka. nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat yachokamuchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhuma vasapatna mriddham rajyam suranam api chadhipatyam. This is shloka number 8 of second chapter. So I'll give you the Anvaya. Those who want to note it, they can just note it. He bhumau asapatnam riddham rajyam suranam cha api adhipatyam avapya yat mama indriyanam uchoshanam shokam apanudyat tat na prapashyami. So Arjuna is emphasizing why he needs Krishna's teaching rather. Okay. He says, he indeed. Nahi prapashyami. I do not see anything, any other option. Yat apanudyat, that can remove shokam mama, this sorrow of mine. Uchoshanam indriyanam. This sorrow is weakening all my sense organs. Api riddham, even after getting asapatna rajyam, an unrivaled prosperous kingdom, bhumau, upon this earth, adhipatyam cha suranam, and even we have to bring in, bring in riddham again. So even after getting the kingship over the gods, suranam adhipatyam. Sura means devatas. So kingship over all the devatas, adhipatyam. So he says that, hey Krishna, I need your teaching because I do not see anything else that can remove this sorrow of mine, which weakens all my sense organs. Even if I get an unrivaled prosperous kingdom upon this earth, that will not remove my shoka. Even if I get kingship over the lords, over the gods, even that will not remove my shoka. This is what Arjuna is saying, stressing or emphasizing the importance of why he needs the teaching and why he has surrendered to Krishna. So here, Arjuna is confessing that his grief is so deep and intense that all other local solutions are not going to work. Because we may have many times so many temporary worldly solutions, but they cannot uproot the problem of innermost grief. And therefore, Arjuna says here, Yachoka muchoshanam indriyana. My grief is so intense that it is weakening. It dries up all my organs rather. Earlier he had said, if you remember the first chapter, Sidanti mama gatrani mukam cha parishusyati. My body is burning, my mouth is drying up. So not only it is weakening the jnanendriyas and the karmendriyas, he is saying that it is worse, it is even weakening my thinking faculty. This sorrow is so deep that there is no possibility of any escape. Therefore, he says, Mama apanudyat. Mama apanudyat. I don't see any other method of removing this sorrow other than your teaching. Even if I am going to escape, this problem is going to bounce back again. Avapya bhuma vasapatna mriddham. What his meaning is, I may choose to fight this war. I may win this war also. I may kill all these people. I may become the emperor. I may get this kingdom. But what type of kingdom? Asapatnam riddham rajyam. I may get a rajyam which is unrivaled and also riddham prosperous. But all of that will not remove my sorrow. Earlier itself, he had said, even if I get the kingdom and all, my life, it will be a blood-stained kingdom. I will always be, reminded of the killings and the blood which I have shed. So what Arjuna is ultimately indicating here, and that is the message for us, is money cannot remove the problem of sorrow. Because we have heard money can buy bed but not sleep. Money can buy food, not hunger. Money can buy house but not home. Money can buy people and not friends. So similarly, Arjuna is showing that grief cannot be solved by getting any one of these things, any amount of money. And that's why even we see that very wealthiest of the persons also, if you get an opportunity to spend some time with them, you will see the amount of grief which is actually buried in their minds. And Arjuna goes one step ahead. He says it's not only a question of prosperity of this world cannot solve the problem. Suranam api adhipatyam. Even if I am going to become Indra, that is the Devata, the leader Devata of all the Suras, the Devas, the ruler of all the gods, I do not think even that will solve my problem. So what it means that the problem of samsara cannot be solved by any amount of worldly accomplishments. This is the essence of this sloka. This is the message of this sloka. That the problem of samsara cannot be solved by worldly accomplishments. And this is what is indicated in the mantra from Mundaka Upanishad. We have seen this mantra earlier. I will again repeat it. Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmano nirveda mayat nasti akritakritena tad vijnanartam sa gurumeva bhigachet samitpani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. Very beautiful sloka from Mundaka Upanishad, that a person ultimately comes to realize that his problem of shoka, moha in this world, which he has actually experienced throughout his life, which he has actually tried to solve it by gaining so many worldly accomplishments, material accomplishments, etc. He has come to discover that the human problem cannot be solved by all these things. Therefore, he has to go to the spiritual goal of life. And going to a spiritual goal means what? Going to a guru. Tad vijnanartam gurumeva abhigachet. And all this, the Mundaka Upanishad says, a person will discover only after a lot of experience. Pariksha lokan, after having experienced everything, examined everything that is there, all that he has done within his means to solve his worldly problems, but that cannot be solved. And that is exactly what Arjuna is saying here. Even if I become the Lord Indra, I understand that I cannot solve this problem. And this discovery, that is only the spiritual path which can actually solve my problem permanently. Some people will discover this truth when they are 20 years old. Some when they are 30, or still some 40, 50 years old. In fact, few will discover on their deathbed, some 90 years old, when they will be thinking back, oh my God, I did so many things, but still I am not being able to solve this problem of sorrow. And of course, some people do not discover it even in the deathbed. But that's not a problem. Why? Because in our culture, we always have a next birth, and so we can say better luck next time. But of course, it depends whether you get a human birth or not. Sometime you will get a human birth, and that birth only you can follow a spiritual path. So one day in one of the Janmas, everyone will have to come around to this only. If not in this Janma, in some future Janma, everybody, ultimately all Jivas will have to come to the spiritual path. That is the truth. That is what is these Shastras say. That is what Upanishads say. The destiny of the Jivatma is the Parandhama only. It is Paramatma only. The earlier we recognize that is my destination, the earlier we can start traveling in that road. Traveling in the sense within inverted commas. Trying to gain the knowledge of how to reach the Paramatma quickly. How to become one, or how to understand that I am already one with the Paramatma. We'll go into, go on stretching it, then it could be confusion. So let us keep it simple. How I will reach Paramatma, how I will, this individual will merge with the total. And with these words, Arjuna surrenders. And Puja Swamiji says, Arjuna is very lucky. And he says, here is where the background matters. When one is faced with a problem, the background of a person will help to choose the right path to seek the solution. Arjuna is a man with lot of good samskaras. So instead of taking to alcohol and etc., which is what most people will do, when faced with a problem, start. He asks Bhagavan for help. And that is again a message for us. Whenever we are facing with a problem, go and seek help from Bhagavan. Seek his surrender to him. And 100% Bhagavan will render help and solve the problem. He will at least make the problem bearable. If your karmas don't prevent, or karmas prevent from your getting a permanent solution, Bhagavan will give you enough mental strength to bear the consequence of the problem. So with this, once he has said that I don't see any other possibility of doing the Krishna teach me Shadimam Tvam Prapannam, the whole conversation has reached a poignant moment. Arjuna has stopped talking. Krishna also doesn't speak. One reason is perhaps he is waiting to see if Arjuna has completely finished or he has got something more to say. Or it is possible that Krishna now understands that Arjuna has surrendered. Now I should start the teaching. But how should I start? From where should I start? So there is an awkward silence. Krishna is not speaking, Arjuna is not speaking. There is an awkward silence. So Sanjaya takes this opportunity and comes in to give an update to Dhritarashtra. So what does he say? Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva rishikesham gudakeshah parantapah nayotsya iti govindam uktva tushnim babhuvah. So Anvaya is Sanjaya uvacha parantapah gudakeshah evam uktva rishikesham nayotsye iti govindam uktva babhuva tushnim ha. This is what he is saying. Basically, what here, the message which Sanjaya is conveying to Dhritarashtra is, with after all this dialogue, what he has understood is that Arjuna is saying that he is not going to fight. That is the message he is conveying to Dhritarashtra, which will give a lot of happiness to Dhritarashtra, isn't it? If Arjuna is not going to fight, Dhritarashtra in his mind will be thinking, oh, this is a clean walkover Arjuna is going to give to Duryodhana. but he does not know what is going to come. So let us see that later. So Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjaya said, Parantapaha Gudakeshaha. Arjuna, the destroyer of enemies. Here Gudakeshaha refers to Arjuna. Evam Uktva, having spoken in this manner, Rishikesham. Rishikesham again refers to Lord Krishna. To Lord Krishna. Nayotsye, I will not fight. Iti, thus, Govindam Uktva, having told Krishna, Babuva Tushnim ha, and he became quiet. Right? This is a word meaning. So Sanjaya said, having spoken thus to Lord Krishna, Arjuna, the destroyer of enemies, Parantapaha, said to Krishna, I will not fight, and he became quiet. Now let's see the meaning of this sloka. Parantapaha Gudakeshaha evam uktva. So in this manner, in so many distinct words, Arjuna surrendered to Krishna and said, I am your disciple. This word Parantapa, we have already seen the meaning of this word in the third sloka of this chapter, isn't it? Paran Shatrun Tapayati iti Parantapa. The one who scorches, afflicts, punishes his enemies is called a Parantapa. So here also Sanjaya is using that word for Arjuna, Parantapaha, reminding Dhritarashtra that this is the Arjuna who is a Parantapa, who scorches and destroys his enemies. Then another word he uses, Gudakeshaha, for Arjuna. And Sanjaya here is indirectly telling to Dhritarashtra that Arjuna, even he has asked for Krishna's teaching, and Arjuna is a qualified person for that. Gudaka basically means it is a tamoguna, it means sleep, sloth, laziness and all. All these things, they represent tamoguna. Gudaka, Isha means the master. So Gudakesha means the one who has mastered the tamoguna. One who has mastered sleep. One who has mastered laziness. Was overcome all the what I can call it negative aspects of all this laziness and all. And in fact, it is not only tamoguna, we can include in Gudakesha Rajoguna also, because for learning, one needs to be Sattva Guna Pradhana. Especially the learning, any learning requires Sattva Guna. That is where this Sattva Guna only will help us to learn. Rajoguna will keep us engaged in so many actions. Mind will be restless. It will always be thinking, what should I do next? What I should do next? Sitting in the class also, if a person is Rajoguna Pradhana, he will not be able to concentrate on the teaching at all. Tamoguna, no doubt. If the moment the Guru starts speaking, Tamoguna will go to sleep. So, Sattva Guna Pradhana is the quality required for learning anything. Even if they are all these subjects like physics, chemistry, mathematics, everything, Sattva Guna Pradhana is required. And Sattva Guna Pradhana means what? Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna. He has got all the qualifications for learning. So, in one word, Gudakesha, he has actually conveyed to Dhritarashtra that Arjuna is a Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna. And as I said, this is not only for Vedantic teaching, any learning, because the human intellect generally goes to two extremes, like a pendulum. One extreme, it is highly Rajasic. And therefore, it is restless intellect which is wandering all over. And many, we would have observed even in our own cases when we were all Rajo Guna Pradhana at one stage in our life. We may be sitting with a book in the hand, or sitting in front of a guru who is actually talking. But to keep the mind open to the words of the guru or reading the book is a very big task. Because the moment you start reading one paragraph, the mind will go somewhere else. Oh my God, tomorrow is that day, or tomorrow is a Friday, or tomorrow is a Sunday. I need to do so many things. This is what the mind will go on doing, and it will not allow you to concentrate on the book. Because it is said that mind is like a monkey. Jumps from one thought to another like a monkey jumps from one branch of a tree to another. So the mind is always restless, and this is one extreme rather. Therefore, in such a mind, no learning can take place. So Rajoguna tendencies need to be kept in check for learning. This is one end of the pendulum. The other end of the pendulum is there is another type of mind which goes to the other extreme. It never travels outward. It is never restless or active, but it is the other extreme. It's a tamasic mind, doses off. And so dosing off also, nothing will enter. In fact, as children, we have actually, when we were school students and college students and all, we have actually seen the action of this tamasic mind. Whenever we used to take up our textbook for studying, we will automatically get sleep. So these are the two extremes that we face. Either the mind is asleep or it is highly extrovert. A sleep or a dull mind is called tamasaha. A highly extrovert mind is called rajasaha. Whereas a sattvic mind is a non-extrovert, wakeful mind. Wakeful, non-extrovert, receptive and registering mind is called a sattvic mind. And Sanjaya, by describing Arjuna as Gudakesha, says that Arjuna has got that mind. So Arjuna, who is Gudakesha, uttered those words to Lord Krishna, who is Rishikesha. Rishikesha means the Lord of the sense organs, by whose grace alone all Indriyas function. Indriyas, they are called Rishikam in Sanskrit. Rishyati anena iti Rishikam. The one which pleases all the jivas by the sense organs. Rishyati means to please, Rish Dhatu. So that indicates that Bhagavan Krishna is Sarvashaktiman, omnipotent Ishvara. He is the Lord of all the organs, all sense organs, Lord of the mind also. And that also gives us an indication that Lord Krishna is the one who actually knows the mental condition of Arjuna. And therefore, he knows how to tackle the situation also. And having said these words, Nayotsya, he had not told in the previous sloka. Earlier he said, I will not fight. Nayotsya iti govindam muktva. So Arjuna had said that I am not going to fight this war. And that is the message he is conveying, Sanjaya is conveying to Dhritarashtra. Because Dhritarashtra will, ask, it's all very fine. Tell me, what did Arjuna finally say? What is Arjuna's situation now? It's Arjuna's situation, he is not going to fight the war. But the reason now, earlier he gave a different reason for not fighting the war. But as we have seen earlier, the reason here is different. Now Arjuna is having a confusion, or he is not very sure whether fighting is the right solution or not. And at the same time, he is also realized that running away from the battle is also not going to solve the problem. So which is right and wrong, whether fighting is right or wrong, running away is right or wrong, Arjuna does not know. That is his confusion. So he said, I am not going to do either of them, and I want to wait and hear from you, Krishna, and then decide accordingly. Therefore, till such time, I am not going to fight. And Krishna will start the teaching now and will end it at the 18th chapter. The whole teaching from the 11th sloka onwards goes up to the 18th chapter. 18th chapter, he will ask Arjuna, Kachide Shrutam Partha Dvayaikagrena Chetasa Kachidajnana Sammoha Pranashtaste Dhananjaya. So after giving all the teachings in 18 chapters, from the 2nd chapter onwards, he will ask Arjuna, hey Arjuna, did you listen? Has your confusion gone? I don't want to make a decision for you, but having learned all this, gained this knowledge, you must be able to decide yourself. Because Arjuna, I want to make you independent. I want you to solve your own problem. When we come to 18th chapter, we will see this sloka in lot more detail. And of course, Arjuna says, Arjuna huvacha nashto mohaspritir labdva tvat prasadhatmayachyuta stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Hey Krishna, all my confusions are gone. I know what to do, he says. This is the 18th chapter. It's not in this chapter, but what I just showed you, how the whole thing ends also. So now coming back to na yotsya iti govindam uktva, Arjuna says, I will not fight now because I do not know what to decide. Neither am I going to fight, nor am I going to run away. And here he addresses Krishna as Govinda. Govinda is another very significant name for Lord Krishna. Several meanings are given for this word. One meaning is Govinda means protector of this world. Gam vindati iti Govinda. Gam means here refers to the world, one who protects the world. And this is the general meaning which can be extended to the Dharma Shastra meaning also. What is Dharma Shastra meaning? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthavanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Bhagavan Krishna says in the 4th chapter that he takes avatara and protects the dharmic people and destroys adharmic people, thus protecting the world. This is the Dharma Shastra meaning of the word Govinda. Then there is a second philosophical meaning also. In this, Go means the Upanishadic scriptures. Vindaha means from Vid Dhatu, the one who has grasped through the one who can be grasped through the Upanishads alone. So the Lord's true nature cannot be known or can never be known through any other method, but only through the Upanishad teaching alone. This is the another meaning of Govinda. The one who can be known only through the teaching of the Upanishads. That is Govinda. That is the true nature. Here it is referring to the Satchidananda Swarupa of Bhagavan. There is another meaning which is given for Govinda. Gam Veda Lakshanam Vindati Janati iti Govinda. Earlier it was said that the one who can be known only through the Vedas or through the Upanishad is Govinda. Here that meaning is the one who knows the Vedas is Govinda. The one who is the source of all Vedas, who is Sarvajnaha, who is a Shastra Yonihi. The one who knows all the Vedas without being taught, because he is the one who is manifesting the Vedas in the beginning of the creation. So this is another meaning of the word Govinda. So we can see Govinda has got so many meanings. All meanings we can take and fit into this sloka. It is not that one or the other meaning. Every meaning will fit into this sloka. So thus, to such a Lord Arjuna surrenders to, and after that, Uktva Babuva Tushnim, he became silent. And Sanjaya adds Ha in the end. Ha means looking back at the turn of events. Because just a few minutes ago, only all noises were raised from the shankas, drums, beri, and all that, so many noises were raised, tumultuous noises. But now it has all become quiet from the battleground to the philosophy class. It's again a figurative speech. The sound may be going on, but what he wants to say is that now the teaching is going to begin. There is a complete silence for the teaching to take place. Arjuna is silent. Krishna is right now silent. The silence which is required, the noises which need to be filtered out for a teaching to take place has happened. So see what is the change. Now the entire war scenario has gone to the background, right? Then along with the sound, they have all gone to the background. Now what has come in close up is a silent situation, silent classroom kind of a thing, where Krishna probably, now he was all along facing the war, this thing, sitting as a charioteer. Now probably Krishna turns around, faces Arjuna, his student, and starts teaching. Then what happens is the 10th sloka. Tamuvacha Rishikesha prahasanniva bharata senayorubhayor madhye vishidandamidam vachaha. So this is the introductory sloka. What happened then? He Bharata, Ubayoho Senayoho Madhye. This is again Sanjaya is telling Dhritarashtra. This is all update he is giving. He Bharata, Ubayoho Senayoho Madhye, Tam here refers to Arjunam, Vishidantam, Rishikesha, Prahasan Iva Idam Vachaha Uvacha. So, He Bharata, He Dhritarashtra, Ubayoho Senayoho Madhye, in between the two armies, Tam, to that Arjuna, Arjunam, Vishidantam, who was grieving, who was drowned in sorrow, Rishikesha, Lord Krishna, Prahasan Iva, as though smiling, smiling as it were, Idam Vachaha Uvacha, spoke these words. Then the 11th sloka will come. So, O Dhritarashtra, smiling as it were, Lord Krishna spoke these words to that Arjuna who was grieving in between the two armies. So, Sanjaya here addresses Dhritarashtra as He Bharata. Bharata Vamshodbhava Bharata, or Bharata Vamshe Jata hai Bharata. Sambodhana, He Bharata. In the Gita, this Sambodhana Bharata will be used several times, and even Krishna uses for Arjuna. Where all of them are all Bharata Vamsha Jata hai only. Everybody has come the Bharata Vamsham only. That's how the Mahabharata is there. So, Rishikesha Tamuvacha, Lord Krishna, having accepted the offer of surrender by Krishna, then taught Arjuna. What did he teach? Idam Vachaha. Idam Vachaha here refers to the entire Gita Shastra. So, Idam Vachaha, we can replace it with Idam Gita Shastram Uvacha. And this Gita Shastram begins from the 11th verse, that is the next verse of chapter 2, and continues up to the 66th verse of 18th chapter. 18th chapter has got 78 verses totally. Of this, with the 66th verse, the Gita teaching is over. Thereafter, of course, 12 slokas are there, concluding slokas and all that, which is where Krishna asks Arjuna, have you understood and all that? Arjuna says, yes, my nashto moha and all that. We have seen that. So therefore, the actual teaching is from 11th sloka of the 2nd chapter till the 66th sloka of the 18th chapter. And this Gita Shastram here is referred to by the word idam vachaha. This is the Gita Shastram Lord Krishna taught to Arjuna. And where did he teach? Senayoho Ubayoho Madhye, between the two armies. He gave the Gita Upadesha to the grieving Arjuna in the middle of the two armies. And what was the condition of Arjuna? He was Vishidantam, grieving. And here Vishidantam represents all samsaris, all jivas. Where all jivas have got one common feature. An uneasiness centered on oneself, that is called Vishada or Shoka. Some inner discomfort is always there. Of course, it may vary from person to person and it may also vary in degrees. There may be slight in some person, very pronounced in some other people. So since Bhagavan is talking to Arjuna who is grieving and who represents all samsaris, therefore this Upadesha which Bhagavan is giving to Arjuna is also relevant for all samsaris all the time. These words which are the means for moksha, shreyas, Bhagavan spoke. Because Arjuna's problem was delusion and sorrow, and therefore Bhagavan spoke these words which are the means for removing this delusion and sorrow. And the significance of this Senayoho Ubayoho Madhye is that Bhagavan did not wait for any particular time. He did not say, right now I am not able to teach. I am going to start a new course after 3 months. So you apply there and then we will see whether we will select you or not. Nor did he say, okay, Arjuna, I know that you are teaching, but here there is so much of noise in this war and all that. Let us do one thing. Let us go to some ashram in Rishikesh or somewhere else. Let's go to Anakati ashram also. There I will teach you. And it is there, Puja Swamiji says that in learning, the place and time are not important. What is important is the student and teacher. Krishna could teach even in a noisy atmosphere, and the student like Arjuna could listen even in a noisy atmosphere. So when there is an opportunity to learn, don't look for the correct muhurtam and a good day, auspicious day and all. You get a good guru, learn then and there. Place and time do not matter. When the student is focused, the whole world will disappear. And we have seen this characteristic of Arjuna in the Draupadi Swayamvara episode. When Arjuna was asked by Dronacharya, what did you see? Everybody else said, I see a tree, then I see so many stars, other sky there, and I see a bird sitting on that particular branch of a tree, and all that they said. Arjuna said, I see the bird's eye only, nothing else I can see. And that is how he was able to actually shoot his arrow directly into the bird's eye during Draupadi Swayamvara. He was so focused. So if that is the kind of mind Arjuna has got, any time, any place is okay for teaching and learning. Therefore, Senayoho Ubayoho Madhye indicates that which really matters. What really matters is the readiness of the student and the composure of the student. Of course, if the appropriate time and place is there, it is ideal. But in search of time and space, we should not waste our time. When you have an intense desire to learn and you get the best teacher, the teaching should start immediately. And when Krishna was giving this Upadesha, this demon, Prahasan Iva, was his demon. That was his, Prahasan, the word has got several meanings like laugh, smile, ridicule, look splendid, brighten up, etc. So many meanings are there for this word Prahasan. In fact, generally in Sanskrit, this word is used to mean a sarcastic laughter. So when we read this word, Prahasan, it may appear that seems Krishna gave his teaching as though laughing or smiling sarcastically. But that sounds funny, for a guru. So for us to actually understand the actual Devana, the word Iva is used. Prahasan Iva. Iva means as though, as it were. Krishna was not laughing, but perhaps he was smiling inwardly. Not wanting to insult Arjuna, but at the same time revealing a discrepancy in Arjuna's contradictory behavior. So Krishna is Prahasan. This is one of the interpreters given by some commentators rather. Some other Acharyas give a simple reason. Bhagavan was very happy with this movement as if he was waiting for this to happen. Because one of the missions of this avatara was to revive the Vedic teaching by giving this Upadesha to someone who was very popular. Now Arjuna is like the film stars of these days, isn't it? Whenever you want to do any advertising, film stars are the models. So Arjuna was a role model rather, he was very popular. So Krishna was very happy. So Prahasan Iva, as though brightened up and looking splendid, he started teaching. And of course, one more explanation is given by Pujya Swamiji that Bhagavan is showing his fullness. Bhagavan Krishna is happy all the way to teach. His smile itself is the message. So giving the message of how to remain happy in all situations indicates one's inner fullness. And that is why Krishna was smiling, indicating that this teaching for him was an easy job. And this is the difference between a samsari and a siddha who has discovered his inner fullness. A samsari does things for happiness, but a siddha purusha does things in a happy state of mind. All the way happy he is. And this is the message given by Krishna. We can interpret it is the message in Prahasan Iva. So hereafter, Krishna is no longer Parthasarathi. He is no longer a driver of Arjuna. He has become Arjunasya Guruhu. He has become Gita Acharya. And through Arjuna, he has become even Jagat Guru. He has become our Guru. So Krishnam Mande Jagat Guru. You can say. I think you've got 2 minutes. Just cover one more aspect. There are some people, they will ask, how can Krishna teach 18 chapters in between the armies? These are all, people who are skeptical people about all these things. They will ask what were Duryodhana and all were doing during that time. Because 18 chapter teaching is not going to happen in a couple of minutes. And they will also ask, why were they waiting for Krishna to complete this teaching to start the war? These are all historical questions for which there are no answers. Because Vyasacharya has not dealt with such mundane questions in the Mahabharata. The reason is that for a sadhaka who is interested only in moksha, learning the Gita Shastram, these questions and these details are irrelevant. So we do not know the details and we are not interested in those details at all. We only want to know this much. Arjuna discovered the problem, his helplessness in solving the problem, and his own, and therefore a problem on his own, and therefore surrendered to Krishna. So therefore, the message for us is we should also discover the problem and surrender to a guru. We will find a solution. Once we have understood that, we should throw away the story part like sugarcane. Swami Paramathananda says, like sugarcane, we bite and chew the sugarcane take the juice in and spit out, the remnant parts, Similarly, bite the entire first chapter, take the juice. What is the juice? Discovering of the problem, discovering of the helplessness, surrender and learn and be free. And once you have got the juice, do not ask the question whether Mahabharata war took place in 3100 BC or 5000 BC. All these details we should not bother. Because as a sadhaka, what we are interested is only in the teaching and not the historical details. It does not matter whenever it happened. The fact of the matter is Krishna taught Arjuna. Krishna is Jagat Guru. We have an opportunity to learn. So we will learn from the, as they say, from the Jagat Guru himself in his own words from the next sloka onwards, from the next class onwards. Okay. We will start with the first sloka in the next class. I'll say the prayers. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Very nice.
Thank you so much, Guruji. Thank you so much.
Namaste, Guruji.
Very nice, Guruji.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Very much. Hari Om.
Mama,
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
can you repeat the meaning of Gudakesha? Why Arjuna is addressed as Gudakesha?
Guruji.
I will say. Any other? Everybody has left. Those who want to. Gudakesha. Guda means basically the Gudaka means Tamo Guna Pradhana.
2500. ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದಲ್ವಾ ಡೆಬಿಟ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಆಗಿ
Okay. I have muted the person. Okay. No more sound. So Gudaka basically means laziness, sleep. The one who has mastered the sleep is Gudakesha, who is the Isha or Ishvara of Gudakas, of master. That means what? He has very less Tamo Guna. He is a Sattva Guna Pradhana. That is Gudakesha meaning. So here Arjuna, Sanjaya is indicating to Dhritarashtra that Arjuna is Gudakesha because he is actually a student who is fit to learn. He has actually mastered his sleep. He is a Sattva Guna Pradhana at this stage. So he is fit to learn. He has got all the qualifications for learning. That is how we have to understand the word Gudakesha. Significance of that.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you. Hari ji, Hari Om. Tell me.
Namaskaram, Mama.
Namaskaram. Namaskaram.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Guruji, there is any specific reason why these 11 verses have been put in chapter 2 instead of including that in chapter 1?
I think I did mention in while ending chapter 1. See, this is just like our serials, our the soap operas and all. Today we see so many serials, Tamil serials and all. They will end it in a place where it leaves us some curiosity in the minds of the listeners or the viewers as to what is going to happen next. Isn't it? So there, when the first chapter ended, there was a situation when Arjuna is actually has put down his bows and arrows, totally grieving, sat down. Then the curtains close. Then people will be wondering. If you have seen, this Gita, if it has been staged, when the curtain closes, nobody has seen the play earlier. So they don't know what is now going to happen. Is Arjuna going to fight or not? Is he really, going to run away, become sannyasi and all that? All these questions will be there. So when the second chapter opens, Vyasacharya is continuing the narrative and slowly creating the situation where Gita teaching is going to take place. So the first chapter was all about discovering a problem. Arjuna discovered the problem. Now what is the solution for it? So second chapter, in the first 10 slokas, first solution is realization that you cannot solve the problem on your own. That helplessness is the first message of the first 10 sloka. The second message of the first 10 sloka is, since you have realized now as a wise, as an intelligent person, that you cannot solve the problem on your own, better look for a guru. For Arjuna, luckily he was present very much in the chariot itself. Surrender to him and seek teaching from him. The meaning, this is also, Arjuna is not asking whether I should fight or not. Tell me, Krishna, should I fight or not? I don't know anything. I don't want to rack my brains. Many people do this, I don't want to rack my brain. You tell me what I should do, I will do it. Arjuna did not say that. If Arjuna had said that, Krishna will say, I'm not going to tell you anything. You do whatever you want to do. Krishna wanted to give the teaching to Arjuna so that in future also, if he faces a similar problem, Arjuna should be well equipped to solve it on his own. That helplessness is getting removed. I know how to solve my problem. So that is why it's more of a presentation issue rather than first chapter, second chapter. First chapter is titled as what? Vishidanta, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So there it is only about Vishada he is talking about. Whereas here it is Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga means analysis, enumeration of the problem and coming to a solution. That is Sankhya. I explained the Sankhya in an earlier class. That is why Acharya chose to end the first chapter there in that sloka and then start the second chapter from where he went up. It's a continuation. Because it had started with Ashocya and Anvashocya teaching. People will say suddenly Krishna started teaching. Why? How can Krishna teach when Arjuna is not even told, you please teach me? That means, there's a forcefully Krishna is making Arjuna a student and he doesn't do it. That is why that's the significance. Yeah.
No, that is. No, that. Mr. Vishwanathan, can you mute it?
No, I will do it. Yeah.
Yeah, Lord Krishna has never told him to fight. He has, at the end, he tells, whatever I have to say, advice I have given now, it is up to you.
During the teaching, he says, Yudhyasva, he says. Why Yudhyasva? Not that you just go and fight. You understand the reason. It is your dharma to fight. Then after telling everything in the 18th chapter, he says, I have told you whatever I have to tell you. You take your own decision now, whether you want to fight or not. I have told you everything. Whatever was there. In fact, 3 times I have told you. He has actually, he gives that Gita teaching 3 times in the Bhagavad Gita. Like the news readers and all that. First they will say the headlines, then they will say expand the news. So like that, Then in the end, they will again summarize. Like that. 3 times he is giving. So ultimately, that is what Krishna is, the message for all of us is. Don't ask, that you said, that is why I did and I got into a problem. That situation should not come. When you are taking a decision, it should be your decision, application of your mind, and the responsibility for whatever happens with that decision should lie squarely with you only. You cannot blame anybody else for that. Even if somebody has told you to do that. So that's why I said in the last class also, where Guru, when we are talking about, many people have got this, Guru has told me I should do it. Guru will never tell you something and not ask you to use your own intellect. Guru will, if you have to go to a Guru, seek advice, the correct understanding should be, let the Guru say all those things. I will hear the Guru. But just because he is Guru, I am not going to blindly follow him. And in India, there is a problem. Most of the people have got this mentality, Guru does this, even if it's an adharmic karyam, I should follow it. And that is why all the Gurus, many Gurus are in jails now, rather. You know that. Why they are in jail. So this is the problem with this so-called self-styled Gurus of this world. But of course, we are talking about Krishna and all that. Those days, it was not the condition. So, even though Krishna is not telling Arjuna, you fight, but he is putting all the options before Arjuna. What were the consequences of the fight? What are you actually fighting? Do you understand what this fighting is all about? What this war is all? That is what the whole teaching is. And in the case of Arjuna, the context was war. For us, when we learn and when we take the messages from this teaching, is the context of the conflicts that we face day in and day out in our own personal lives. The conflicts that we face because of this Raga, Shoka and Moha. For Arjuna, it was Duryodhana, sorry, Bhishmacharya and Dronacharya. For us, we have got so many people, so many Bhishmacharyas, Dronacharyas around us. They are the reason for our conflict of Shoka, Moha, and this Raga, Shoka, and Moha. Dvesha also, rather, we can add. So that is what it is all about. Is that okay? I mean, explanation? I don't know. I thought that was the question you asked.
Yeah. Very, very, very true.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other question, please?
I don't have a question, but more
A thought.
thought. Prahasan, is that word you used?
Prahasan.
Prahasan. And you said
Hasta.
sometimes used sarcastically.
Yes.
This word parihasam, is it derived from this?
Probably the parihasam
the
might
thought
have
that
come from
occurred.
prahasan. Yeah, quite possible. Quite possible. Because language, we cannot trace back. Of course, we don't have any source to trace back from where certain words have crept into other languages. But when we actually look at many of the Sanskrit words and then look at the words in other languages, including Tamil or Malayalam or Marathi, we find that many Sanskrit words, or even in Hindi rather,
Yes.
many Sanskrit words have crept into those languages but has changed the shape a little bit.
Yes.
That is why. So parihasam also, because the dhatu is has dhatu, right? Has basically means to laugh, to smile. But when it takes a upasarga pra, it adds a different shade of meaning as sarcasm. The laughing with sarcasm, including, somebody like laughs loudly sarcastically. That also is described as prahasan in Sanskrit language.
Oh.
Yes, Hariji.
Guruji, this prahasanam is there in Malayalam also.
Oh, is it?
Malayalam is
Okay.
very, very closely associated with Sanskrit. Prahasanam means in the drama and all, they use prahasanam, means that it is not actually there, they don't mean it, but it is appearing.
Yes.
So it is a prahasanam is it's a
There in
common.
Malayalam. I don't, maybe there, but parihasam is the word in Tamil.
Yeah, parihasam in
Parihasam
Malayalam.
is there in Sanskrit.
Yeah.
In the Malayalam also parihasam is there.
Yes.
Yes.
Parihasam is more like laughing at.
More like laughing at.
Parihasikardu.
Exactly. Making fun
Yeah.
of.
Making fun of.
Yes.
Whereas prahasanam it is not the true thing. It is you show something, but you have got different thing in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is more a hidden appear.
Okay. But in Sanskrit, the word prahasan means it has different meaning, as I told. One is smiling, you can take. Even the word like, bright and, all that meaning is also there for the word prahasan rather. If you look at the dictionary, so many meanings are given. So what happens is these commentators, they latch on to this. And with that one word, they will give different interpretations, which will all fit into the circumstances or the context of the situation. And that is why when we read the Bhashyam and, the Tikas and all that, it gives a lot of, satisfaction that, okay, this word can be used like this also. It's not that we are going to write a commentary or anything. But how can, what is the depth of human intellect in terms of thinking and coming up with an interpretation which sounds very, very logical and fits into the situation? When we read the commentaries and all, we get. So that is the beauty of Shastric study, if you have got the inclination for it. Many people, the moment you say Shastra, they will run away from it. That's a different thing. But again, commentaries reading and all that is not an easy thing. I mean, you require again dedicated time, dedicated effort for that, and a good guru to teach. Luckily for me, I got that. So, and of course, if I had started Bhagavad Gita teaching with Adi Shankara's commentary, these classes would have gone for next 10 years. So we have to draw some line. Of course, I will be borrowing something from what Adi Shankara's interpretation and all here and there. But mainly we will stick to the meaning of the sloka, and also somewhere relevant, like for example, this Prahasan, Buddha Kesha explanation and all that. Little bit from the commentaries and all, we'll just put some masala to that, so that it is tasty. At the same time, not dragging it too much, in the sense of like Adi Shankara Gita, this Bhashyam, word by word, if you have to do, there's so much to there, so much, it's so deep. So we won't go, and he will bring in Sanskrit also into that. So many things are there. It's not for normal audience, it's only for some people who are really interested in that. But these words are all somewhere, whenever we come across, I will explain those words from a point of view of how it has been interpreted by different commentators. I will do that. Hariyo, thank you. So, no more questions. Shall I close the session? Okay.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Hariyo. See you
Hariyo.
next day. Hariyo.